Podcast. I am Robert Lyon here with Terry Preston.
Yo,
Today, man, this is episode 2.
yes, sir.
I'm
Second,
fucking stoked, man.
Jesus Christ. Jesus,
Getting somewhere now.
son.
We're just gonna kind of shoot the shit and go over like wholesaling basics, and just try and be real helpful. Drop some knowledge bombs.
Mhm.
Um, so I
Yes.
mean, I guess I kind of want to hear Terry. You explain like wholesaling. Like, how do you explain it?
The way I would explain wholesaling, basically finding a discounted property and getting the property under contract, and then finding a buyer, somebody who's looking for properties in that area and selling it to them for $10,000 to $20,000 more than what you got under contract for, so you can make a profit off that. And it's called an assignment fee. So that's kind of like the base, just like me saying it on top of my head. It's really as simple as I just said it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how, that's basically wholesaling in one sentence. Too,
right. Well, this is my little pitch when I explain wholesaling. So it all starts by finding motivated sellers, right? So you find somebody who's willing to sell you their house. The first thing you're going to do is get them to agree on a price. Let's say they're willing to sell you the house for $100,000. Okay.
Mhm.
You're then going to get them to sign what's called a purchase agreement. Purchase agreement is just a black and white piece of paper that says you can potentially buy the house from them for $100,000. Once you have that signed, you're going to go and find a cash buyer or an real estate investor who's actually going to buy the property. You're going to say, hey, I got this house. If you want to buy it, it's $120,000. Cash buyer is going to go take a look at the property. He's going to say, okay, yeah, I want to buy it. You're going to get him to either pay you or either sign a assignment fee, which is just like a finder's fee, basically. And he's paying you for the rights to put his name on that contract, or a double close where he has no idea what you got it under contract for. He just knows you and your price. Either way, you get him to sign one of those contracts. Then you're going to take both those contracts to a title company. Title company is going to switch the house for the money. And then you make $20,000 being the middleman or woman. And that's kind of, that's my pitch in a can for wholesaling. But that's like the Sesame Street version of it, though. There's
Nah, but honestly, that's what people need. That's what I needed when I first started. Jesus Christ, that was the best version, honestly.
I know, man. So you go out there, you find motivated sellers. It's all about talking to
People,
as many people
yeah.
that want, or as many homeowners, really.
Mm-hmm. Like, you'd be surprised how many people in your area actually want to sell their properties, and you'll be surprised, like, when you start wholesaling and you, like, say you want to drop for dollars. Like, guys, there's an app out there called, let me pull up the app on my phone. It's called Driving for Dollars. Like, it's driving for in the dollar sign.
Yeah.
Get that app, guys. Like, literally drive around in your car. When you're at a property, you go to add it, it already gives you the street. So basically all you gotta do is put in the number and the house pops up right there. It gives you the person who owns it. It's pretty accurate. It's about 75% to 80% accurate, but at least gives you the person's name, the person who owns the property, and their phone number, to call them at right there and there. So you can do that on the spot. So that's definitely something you want to invest in. But like I said, it's crazy. Like, if you drive around, how many distressed properties you'll see in your neighborhood that you weren't unaware of, that are right under your nose. Like, I went and checked my hometown, Elmsford, where I grew up in. Like, now that I started doing real estate, and and I know I have an eye for properties, like, I see so many opportunities, in my neighborhood, that it's like crazy, when you get the eye for it. So, definitely situations like that,
Is it a free app, or they got to pay for it, or what is it?
No, it's a free app.
Shit.
Free. It might have even been, yeah. From what I understand, you probably get, like, you probably save to like 50 properties for free, and then like I think you have to pay like a one-time thing, like $12 or something like that. But it was like it's a must get, or something like that. Source like that is a must.
So I'm in Arizona, and I got a couple old guys down in Phoenix, and they bird dog for me, right? So they'll go driving for dollars, and they're old and they're retired. And they just go drive around. They got nothing better to do. I've sent a couple of them like $1,000 because they brought me a deal before. But it's pretty funny because, they're just old retirees, and like, they got a whole little bird dog army. But if you don't want to go driving for dollars, you can always call up Uber drivers, call up, what are the other people that deliver food? Like Grubhub people and stuff like that. Yeah. So DoorDash. Yeah. So you can tell those guys, hey, you want to make some money while you're driving around? Take a list and send me all of the houses that are beat up that you see on your drives all the time. And they'll be like, oh, fuck it. You say, I'll pay you, $500, $1,000 every time I get a deal.
Mhm.
And you can have other people bird dogging for you. So that's a pretty niche way to
Yes.
start
You know
building the
what's crazy?
list.
It's crazy that you just said that because I know it's another one. My friend's dad is a mailman.
Yeah.
That is another guy. Like I was just talking to him. Like if you get cards made, a car, we buy houses or flyers, anything like that. Mailman, tell him I get work on a deal. Like wholesaling is about talking to people and compromising, negotiating. That is a good person to talk to. Figure out our system for him leaving. Your cards in their mailbox and stuff like that. It's unlimited. The amount of things you can do.
I need to
Honestly,
make some business cards,
yeah,
put them all over
seriously.
the place. Sell your house, I'll buy for
I know,
cash.
like we buy homes, something like that, a little flyer, or something like that. Tell them to leave it in the freaking mailbox.
It feels spammy saying we buy homes and putting it everywhere, but I mean, whatever. How else are they gonna know you buy houses? Well, probably because I blow up their phones.
Hey, definitely get one deal though.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you do it.
Here.
But it's all about talking to motivated sellers, right? So as the more people you can talk to, the more likely you're going to get a deal. Oh, that's what it was. I just wanted to break down, like, a lot of people don't know like what to say, right? Because like it's all about talking to people, but then what do you say to people? And people kind of overthink it. Like you just have to be a person. Like I think that be a person. But you just have to be like a people person and just talk about their house and ask them. I guess the 4 questions are, does it need any repairs? Can you send me some pictures? How soon do you want to sell it? And then
Yeah,
how much do you want to sell it for?
yeah.
So like those magic questions, though, have made me and Terry tons and tons of money.
Like those questions allow you to weed out the people you don't want to be talking to and you want to be talking to. Like you could really talk to a seller who wants to sell their home, but if you don't find out, it could be within the next 2 months at a price that it needs to be listed for. You want to make sure people qualify. You want to make sure people are the best seller you want to be talking to, so you're not wasting your time. So, like I said, those 4 questions you need to be asking them. Definitely, how soon you're looking to sell, what's the condition of the property, how much you're looking to get, and what was the other one you said, Robert?
Pictures, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
like what's their motivation for selling? Because if
Your
they're really
motivation.
motivated, then they're going to sign the contract over the phone, and it just makes your whole job a lot easier because they
Exactly.
want that cash, and as long as they get their money at the end of the day, they're usually real happy. But yeah, so well, a
Mhm.
lot of people don't know like what to offer people, though. That's one of the biggest things that I get. People blow me up all the time. Hey, can you comp this property? Or they send me their shitty deal that they got under contract and they have no idea what they were looking for. So the fastest way to figure out like a price to give people is just plug the address in Zillow and then multiply it by 0.6. Okay, that's going to give you 60% of the value of the house. And that's a deal that you can wholesale because most cash buyers want to buy at about 70%. So that they're making a good investment with their money. People don't just want to spend all their money on a house that's not going to make them money. They want to buy houses that are going to make them money. So that's kind of what you're looking for.
Yeah, and definitely, guys. So I guess when you say like how many sellers you want to be talking to as well, you want to be talking to at least you want to be giving out 3 numbers a day to sellers. Like you want to be negotiating on price 3 times. You want to whether it's all 3 no's, a maybe, I'll get back to you, a yes. Either or. You want to be giving offers, 3 actual offers on properties. To be at a pace where you can make $10,000 a month. That's where you want to be around. Like honestly, those are the really good numbers to definitely look at and to strive to be at.
So you're thinking if you make 3 offers a day, you'll get at least 1 deal a month and do 10,000, like at least for sure.
If you're making a real offers
Mm-hmm.
at discounted prices,
Yeah.
3 times a day. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you can just go on Craigslist. I just made a video where you can literally look on Craigslist and you can see video houses for sale by owner, and you can just call them up, make some offers. You can go on Zillow, you can go on Facebook, you can start buying Batchleads or PropStream, and that's really how you can really excel and start to explode your business. So that's how you can get in front of those people, or driving for dollars, like we were just talking about.
What do you think, Robert's the fastest way to get a deal?
Definitely skip tracing pre-foreclosures and vacant properties and tax liens.
What would you say? Like, go ahead, my fault.
Oh, you're good. I was just gonna say like the pain points, like the sellers, what's gonna motivate, like if you actually think about it, like if you own a house, like what would make you want to sell? Like it's pretty extreme things usually, but
I would say how would you find the seller? Would it be driving for dollars? Would it be, cold calling, texting, text blasting, mail? What do you think would be the fastest?
Craigslist, Facebook, and skip tracing. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because I mean, the cool thing is like there's outbound and then there's inbound marketing, right? So the cool thing about using Facebook, using Craigslist is like, well, I guess yeah, because you can post on Craigslist as well. Those are going to be your inbound. That's where people are actually calling you. That's why we have the website. You can check out the website, Bears Real Estate. If you're looking for discount properties, go to that, bearsrealestate.com. And that's inbound. That's how people are looking for houses, looking to buy houses, looking to sell their house. They're coming to you. Outbound is where you're going to skip trace. That's where you're going to text blast. That's where you're going to cold call. That's where you're going to ringless voicemail, all that kind of stuff. So it's good to have a mixture of both of those. But I mean, if you want to be proactive and take control of your money, it's all about going after the sellers, after the deals, instead of passively waiting for them to come to you. Both are good. But yeah, the fastest way is cold calling. It's got to be. I mean, that's because like even texting, you're just trying to get people on the phone. You know what I mean? To sign the contracts. And then like, that's how you make a real connection. I mean, like Facebook Messenger and text messaging and email, like you can kind of connect with somebody, but if you really want to like, make a deal, like someone's going to buy their house, you want to talk to someone usually on the phone or face to face usually.
Got you. Exactly.
Yeah.
So exactly. So Robert thinks cold calling. Mine started with cold calling. So you would think I picked that. I honestly feel just from me going around and actually driving around, I feel like me and Robert have had a system, virtually. So like that's really been our main focus and my main focus. But like if you're somebody who, you rather do driving for dollars, that is probably, I think if not one, number two fastest ways to get a deal. And it's just because. Go ahead. You had a question? Or?
No, I'm just saying that's the fastest way to find a house near you, and then you can have control of everything because you can take pictures, you can meet people in person, you can negotiate. So for sure.
So yeah, if you're doing it virtually, you're not there cold calling, and if you actually want to drive around in your neighborhood or neighborhoods you think that you know of, driving for dollars, those are the definitely top two ways to get your deals. And honestly, guys, you want to be calling these people up. Regardless, you got to speak to them on the phone. And some people are nervous, I can't do it. You might call somebody up and you hear them. They might be like, oh, don't call this effort number back. Or why would I want to sell my property? Did you see a for sale sign? Like, guys, this happened to me so many times. Like, you gotta kind of get immune to it in a way, you really do. You just realize, you're on a goal. The more no's you hear, the closer you are to that yes. So if you're hearing no's, I don't want to sell my property, or basically if you're hearing no's, no, this price is not going to work, eventually you're going to hear a yes. And that means you're doing something right. When you're picking up the phone and you're definitely getting responses from people, that's how you're in it. Yeah. So don't feel discouraged.
What are those conversations like? What do you look like? Do you like, since you've done so many now, like how are you starting your calls when somebody says they kind of want to sell their house?
So basically, I call them up and say hello. I say, hi, my name is Well, basically, I said, hi, I'm looking to speak to so-and-so. Is they available? Is that you? They'll say yes. And then say, hi, yes. So one of my buying partners, or I'll even say that's one of my lines. So my buying partners was in the area who liked your property. And, we want to reach out to see if you're open to getting a cash offer for the property. And they'll say, oh, yes, or no, or, I haven't thought about it. I may be open to it. So what you really want to hear is look for is a yes. Like a yes, or like a yesterday or something like that. Like a yes, I want this like yesterday. Like if you have somebody say, oh, I was thinking about it. That's not somebody who's motivated,
right?
Or or maybe like the next couple months. No, that's not somebody you want to be. That's definitely somebody you can follow up with. It's definitely good to save numbers, but that's not the most motivated seller. So when you hear somebody say yes, you say awesome. So tell me a little bit about the property. Tell me a little bit about where you are in the process of selling the property. Act clueless. You know what I mean? You will tell you everything about the property. Let them tell you about the condition of the property, how long they've owned the property, why they've owned the property, wasn't passed down to them. The husband and wife purchased the property, it's an investment opportunity that, just went vacant, stopped being intended to. So there's just a bunch of things that, that could be the response. And once you get those answers, you're like, okay, yeah, so depending on the price, and depending on the condition of the property, if it's depending on the price really is when what your next steps are. If it's a number that's reasonable, you could definitely then negotiate. You'll say, hey, so I can pay all closing costs, I can pay cash, and I could close within 14 to 30 days. Does that timeline work for you? And if I could do that, what can you do for me? Somewhere along those lines. That's actually what you should be saying.
Do you get them to say the price first usually?
Oh, 100%. Once you guys, I probably should have said this, but the first person that gives the price loses.
Yeah.
Just know that the first person that gives the price loses. So you'll get people, you'll reach out and they'll be like, what do you want to offer? Then you'll go into, oh, well, tell me about the condition. Tell me, have you redone the kitchen and bathroom? You don't ask that question. I can't really give an offer until I know the most about the property. Never want to give your number first.
Yeah.
You want to do that because that's who loses, honestly.
I know. I like your negotiating tactics, man. You correct me.
Yes, yeah. Honestly, yeah.
Whatever number they give, Terry says, I can't do that. Like 20,000 less or something.
No, I can't. And then when we get a property contract, 20,000 more. Like that's honestly how I'm thinking. Like it's crazy. Robert has to put me down sometimes. Like it's good. I think high, and Robert thinks reasonable. So we kind of like we get a good number. Like that's
make it work, man.
I got to make it work.
That's just funny. The only difference that I do is whenever I pick up the phone, the first thing I say is, you think you could help me out for a minute? Just to throw them off guard, so I don't sound like another spammy salesperson or whatever. And what that actually does is it makes them pull you in, So I say, hey, you think you could help me out for a minute? And then they're gonna say yes, or who the fuck is this, or like whatever they're gonna say, you know what I mean? But that one line has done wonders for me, because instead of just coming at them like, oh, I need to buy your house or whatever, and sounding like, all the other weird people that are calling them, I'm pulling them in, or they're pulling me in, and they're like, oh yeah, I can help you out. What are you looking for? And I'm like, well, I'm looking to buy a house in this area. I was wondering, if you're looking to sell, and things like that. And then the conversation just kind of flows, and you always want to let them talk. You want to let them just like blah, blah, blah about the house, like whatever's on their mind, so that you can really figure out what's the underlying reason that they want to sell. Because if they have a really big reason to sell, you're going to get a great deal and a great price, because you're going to be able to use that to, make it happen for them, so that they can get their money and they can get on their way or whatever. So I think that's powerful stuff.
Definitely. When you're wholesaling, you are AKA a problem solver. You know what I mean? Like your job is going to be solving problems for people who are in, like Robert said, in tight situations. You want to find the pain in their situation of selling. If they don't really have a lot of pain, if it's not a problem for them, they're not motivated. They're just simply not motivated. And you'll be convincing them to sell, and then trying to convince them to sell for a low deal, like, and that's just like where you don't want to be in, No, you don't want to be in that space.
And then usually, like when you go over the repairs, like if they say, oh, it needs a new water heater and a roof and whatever, and then you get them to say a price, you can go, okay, well, I mean, if it needs this and this and this, and you said you want to pay this, well, I don't know if I could do all that. I'm going to have to pay out of my own pocket to invest into this house. So I'm going to have to maybe buy it around this price. So you can use it again against them kind of in the conversation, because it's true, because especially if you get them thinking like that you're going to do all the work yourself, like they'll be like, oh man, if he has to put a new roof on this thing and a new floor, like that's going to be a lot of work and it's going to cost a lot of money. So yeah, maybe I can give them a better deal on the house. So
yeah, exactly. Like Robert said, for them feeling for you, like you want to form relationships with these people. You know what I mean? You definitely want to form relationships, so you're not just another person calling their phone number like everybody else is. You definitely want to be doing that.
The better. That's another thing you want to offer them is like convenience. You want to make it as convenient for them to sell you the house as possible.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I was listening to this guy today, and he said that he was trying to get this house from this old man, and this old man had a bunch of carpenter tools, and he couldn't move all of it. So he offered basically to go to his house and put it all on Facebook Marketplace and sell it all for him. And he got the deal. And it's like, that's the kind of problem solving you need to be on, or like help them move or something like that,
Reaching out, even perfect. Like just being able to tell people over the phone, when they say, well, what's the next steps, or what does this process look like working with you? You know what I mean? Because, people are caught off guard, and it's nice to tell them all you have to do is agree that you'll sell me this property and I take care of everything else.
Yeah.
Like all you do is sit back. You might get a call from title just to clarify some things, but other than that, you just sit back and wait for a check. I make your life that simple. And just being able to tell that, so they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I like that. All right, perfect. Yeah. Like, people want things to be simple for them. You know what I mean? That's just how we Americans are. We like simple, easy things. Like
especially if they're getting a bunch of money.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like I get money sent to me and I gotta do nothing. I got to sit here and wait for it. Oh, come on. Like that's exactly. Who doesn't want that? Like
Yeah. You got any other negotiating tips? Because I think that was probably some good stuff. People always want to figure that out.
Oh, negotiating tips. Oh, definitely. There's just so many.
Yeah.
Let's just think. Let's just say. So sometimes people will give you, they'll give you their first number. They'll just throw out a number. Just say a property is worth $200,000, like really worth that. They'll give a number like 270. Just a crazy number, just to make sure they can make some serious profit. And that's, like I said, you really got to really find out what the problem is. That means if they're just giving a crazy number, that means you got to ask more questions, because that person's just really not doesn't want to sell, or you just got to bring out the reason why they gave that price and what they're doing. Because I was really talking to somebody today, and her mortgage was around like 22, but she was telling me it's around 50 something, and prop sheet has all that stuff. But sometimes it was like, sometimes they're inaccurate, but most of the time they are. And like, she was just honestly just trying to make sure she was comfortable. She had a lot of room to work with, but like, the more I talked to her, I realized like this property has been a real hassle on her. She doesn't live at that property anymore. Her and her husband are, you can't keep up with it, can't afford to keep paying for it. It's really just, it's become vacant. It's not looking the best. She just wants to make sure she has enough to pay off the mortgage. She's just like every other seller here, just somebody who has a problem and needs somebody to come in and help them out. So that means just got to ask more questions and really get down to the real number and the real problem. That's definitely what we're doing. There's a lot. Another tip I guess I could say. Let's see.
I think we dropped some fucking sweet ass value on that. Because people just suck at negotiating. I feel like they're just like, if somebody will tell them a number and they'll just be like, okay, and then you got to be a little more aggressive, and like you need to have just some cojones and just say, that's not going to work, but if we can do it around this number, and just find something that's actually going to work. Because you got to, at the end of the day, like, you can't just get top dollar and expect the cash buyer to pay you for finding them that house. Like, they can do that all day long. They can just go on Zillow or whatever. Like, they need the deals though.
And you got to think, the cash buyers the cash buyer wants a property at a discount. So that means you have to get an even more discount to make sure you make a reasonable cut for yourself. If you're just finding a property that's just making a discounted property, you're trying to sell it for $10,000 more, it's not so much a discount for the cash buyer. You might get yourself like $2,000 if you're really trying to go for 10. If you're not really marketing or discounting the product correctly. So that's some things you definitely gotta think about. And guys, don't be afraid to shoot numbers. I've been in too many situations where I should have just shot a low number, because me trying to be reasonable with them, it didn't even work out anyway. And I honestly would have felt better negotiating at a low price and not getting it than negotiating at a high price that I really shouldn't have been negotiating at, that I couldn't get. And these are all things that I did starting out. Robert knows I've got a property under contract before that was, wasn't really much a deal, but I was, once someone says yes, I'll sign. I was eager to get a signed agreement.
Mm-hmm.
But guys, don't be afraid to, once you get a number, even if it's a deal already, negotiate it. It doesn't matter. Negotiate every deal you get. A lot of times you'll get a number and get wide-eyed and be like, oh no, I'm signing this right here because it's lower than Zillow. No. That doesn't mean it's a discount, or it doesn't mean it's a deal. Yeah. So definitely always negotiate, always shoot for the low.
Do your due diligence. And then, you got the buyer in Baltimore. Every time we tell him any price ever, he just automatically shoots it down and says less.
They use my negotiation. I hate it. He uses it against me. Like I was telling Robert the other day, he pissed me off. But I don't want to be unreasonable and give him a crazy number, and then he'd be like, oh, this guy's trying to take advantage. I don't want. So you just got to play the game. Next time, who knows? I might. Yeah. Who knows? You just got to play the game. When we build a relationship, though, it's a win-win for both of you. Like me and him, we're at a good space where if I send him something, he's reasonable. If he takes something off, and I'd be like, look, come on, man. I need this. And I'd be like, all right, I got you. So that's really how it is with us, though. It didn't always start off like that. But, as me and Robert kept bringing in more deals in Baltimore, we became a source for him, and, be able to work things out.
Yeah, we got to find him a new deal. Speaking of which, we got to get on it.
Yeah, definitely do. One thing, guys, do not forget to ask is, and I mean stress on this, and I mean ask the seller this 8 times before you get off the phone. Is the title free and clear? Is there any tax liens or anything I need to know about the property? He better tell you, or she better tell you, can you stop asking me that, please? Like, I didn't told you this so many times. Like, make sure they tell you that, because it's crazy. Like, you need to know that. Like, me and Robert have been in a situation where the deal is about to close, and 2 days before closing, we find out there's freaking a tax lien on the property of freaking $10,000 that we were unaware of. Like,
more than what the house is worth. Like,
yeah, like you're like, oh, man. Like, and the seller was like, oh, I didn't know about that. And it's,
yeah.
So just make sure, guys, make sure you ask multiple times. Save yourself the trouble.
That's craziness.
Trouble.
So yeah, here's the master plan now for the numbers. And I'm only doing this just because it's kind of fun. But I want a brand new Toyota Tundra, right? So I was looking at them. They're like 36,000 or something. So I'm just gonna say it's $40,000, right? So like the master plan to get to $40,000, like that's about 4 deals. Like I think, probably less, maybe more, because you can get some bigger deals, you can get some smaller deals, whatever it is. But if you need to do, let's say how many contacts does it need to do to get one deal? Like, let's just be super, super like over, we'll say 1 out of every 100 people that you talk to is going to turn into a deal, right?
Yeah.
So that means that's 400 contacts, like 400 offers, talking to 400 sellers, 400 homeowners, like whatever you got to do to talk to them. You break that down. If you want to do it in a month, that's only 20 people a day. Now, 20 people a day, because it can take a while to talk to 20 people a day, but with technology like Facebook blasting, you can send, messages, you can get that way. You can just call people via Craigslist, you can email real estate agents and see if they have anything. So you can make this a lot easier. But let's just say you wanted to make $40,000 in 1 month. All you'd have to do tomorrow is start talking to 20 people a day. And the way that you would do that is, again, Facebook, Craigslist, buy and skip trace a list. Like we text 1,000 people a day. So we know out of those 1,000, like not very many are really going to be serious, but the ones that are serious, we got to get on the phone and talk to them right away. And then like out of those, we can just start cold calling. So you do Facebook, Craigslist, text message, drive for dollars, cold call. Those are pretty much like the 5 main sources of leads that you can start doing it. But it's all about picking up the phone, talking to them, and just making offers on people's houses. So if you can do 20 offers a day, if you can figure that out, that's going to amount to around $40,000 a month. That's not like written in concrete, but honestly, if you did that, think how good you would just get at it. Like if you just practice trying to get to that level, I think, So I think Hamza said it. If you talk to 50 people a day, he's never met someone who's talked to 50 people a day and not become a millionaire. So I like that mindset. Like if you want to become top 1% of all wholesalers, it's just all about talking to people, making offers. I mean, there's so many houses out there. You could just pick up a phone book and start calling people, and you probably get a deal eventually.
I'm telling you, if you get the app that I tell you about, you can be going around and you be calling people all day. You know what I'm saying? You also people for driving for dollars. You want to be trying to get around. If you're starting out, you want to be at somewhere around 30, 35 properties, every time you go out. Try to get around 35 to 40 properties.
Yeah. I think I saw if you get like 200 a week from driving for dollars, you'll probably get a deal pretty quick.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. There's a guy named Nathan, and he's in Texas, and he just drove around for 2 weeks. He got his first deal, and it was 28 grand. So, that's the nice thing about this business that people need to wake up is like every lead is a potential of like $10,000. Like we're not talking about small chump change. You know what I'm saying? Like it's got potential to make you life-changing money. And that's what we're really all about.
You get to negotiate how much you want to make. You're not going to work with a set rate. No matter how much you did today, no matter how much you did today, you're walking away with the same. You don't have to look. You honestly can go in and you actually can get better at negotiating how much you walk away with. Like that's I feel like that's golden right there. That was honestly a wake up call for me too. Like if I can really determine how much I want to make, and it determines how hard I work, bro, because that was clear the route for me.
Right. Writing your own checks, just like how much do I want to pay myself today?
Exactly. You can't. Come on now. That's the
then you just got to do the work. Oh man. and you guys are going to be able to do the work. You subscribe to our podcast, hit us up on social media, ask us questions, like our videos, leave comments.